The right wing are having a meltdown over talks, okay? Not concrete policy, but just talks of the UK banning Twitter after Grok have been generating child sexual abuse material. Now, to be clear, the government isn't actually planning on banning Twitter. They're just looking at options to deal with the exploitation material that has been spreading across the social media website. The Prime Minister said Ofcom, which has the power to effectively ban X in the UK, has the government's full backing on the matter. He told Greatest Hits Radio, "It's unlawful. We're not going to tolerate it. I've asked for all options to be on the table. It's disgusting. X need to get their act together and get this material down. We will take action on this because it's simply not tolerable." Musk's response to this has been disgraceful. Instead of making sure there is no exploitation content with zero tolerance, he simply puts it behind a paywall. So this is a screenshot after someone had asked, basically, can you make a very disgusting image? And Grok's response is image generation and editing are currently limited to paying subscribers. You can click on the link to subscribe to those features. So they're not banning it outright, they're just putting it behind a paywall. Now, Twitter being banned isn't the big story here, but the backlash we've seen mainly from the right wing. Alex Phillips said this on Talk TV.
This government chills me to the bone. They're pushing forward now with the digital ID thing. They'll find some sort of excuse to make sure they can ram raid us with their disturbing dystopian communist ideology. But something that really did send a shiver down my spine was Sir Keir Starmer's message to X. Okay, so we found out that Grok had been used by some people to do some really deeply disturbing, disgusting things. As a woman who campaigns a lot about women's safety and cares a lot about the hypersexualization and pornification of society, then yes, Grok, get your act together. AI deepfakes are not funny. But Grok's going to, well, look into that, one hopes. AI image editing is going to be limited to paid users only. Well, I think you probably need to go a bit further than that. But what Sir Keir Starmer said about using one of his quangos, Ofcom, using the full forces of all their powers against X, including possibly closing it down. I'm sorry, you can't gaslight me, son. You ain't pulling the wool over my eyes. This has got nothing to do with the AI deepfakes, does it? You don't like X because it is a leading source of news in this country. You don't like X because you don't like free speech. You don't like X because you don't like people being able to exchange informations and opinions and ideas. You don't like the criticism, do you? You're a thin-skinned megalomaniacal monster. That's why you want to close it down. If you really cared about sexual abuses online, there's a myriad porn sites you could have closed down. Didn't do that, did you? I mean, come on. People traffickers advertise their wares on TikTok. You're not threatening to close that down. All sorts of weird things are being sold illicitly on Instagram. You're not closing that down. There are paedophiles out there using platforms such as Snapchat to groom kids. You're not closing that down. And yet, the social media platform that is actually about news and information, and yes, a place, the public forum, where people can get together and, frankly, criticise you, that's the one you're going after? Yeah, you ain't fooled me, son. We see you. We know what you're doing.
Oh, classic. We see you. We know what you're doing. What did we just watch? She's crazy. She's crazy. Okay, I want to address something she said there. I mean, first of all, look, everybody knows I'm not Keir Starmer's biggest cheerleader. Everyone knows, this channel does not like the Labour Party, right? But come on, let's get the facts straight. First of all, Keir Starmer's not said he's going to ban Twitter, okay? So try making comparisons with other social media websites saying, well, he's not banning porn websites, he's not banning this, he's not banning that. Yeah, he's not banning Twitter either, right? He's simply backing Ofcom because Ofcom is fine because they're a pretty weak organisation, by the way. They don't do anything. Done nothing to GB News, right? Saying Elon Musk has a AI tool called Grok, which is pushing out child exploitation content, and he's doing nothing about it. And yet we've got these people on the right wing, Alex Phillips and others, who are so concerned about women and girls, are defending a billionaire-owned platform, Elon Musk, who was putting out child exploitation content, who was friends with Donald Trump, who's also a paedophile. These guys don't believe in anything. They're so inconsistent. And I think it's funny as well, the way this is being framed is, well, news and X is a source for news and information. It quite literally isn't, okay? It's owned by a sole billionaire, all right? That's not freedom of information. That's not democracy. That is an opinion of one man. And it's well documented that Twitter has been manipulated in terms of the algorithm to serve the interests of Elon Musk's of the world, the oligarchs of the world. In fact, Elon Musk and his, shift to the far right, fascist and quite literally Nazi politics, he's been pushing that out. He's been censoring real news and information whilst allowing Holocaust deniers back on the platform. People who are calling for, ethnic cleansing, who are calling for remigration, which is a white supremacist policy, that's all fine. And then he's also censoring the word cis. So the idea that this is a free and open platform is ridiculous. But because Alex Phillips, Talk TV, and all the right-wingers, they all suck up to the billionaire class and the oligarchs, of course they want to defend Twitter. And by the way, right, if Keir Starmer does ban Twitter, it'll be the only good thing he ever did. Rupert Lowe, of course, didn't like this. He also tweeted, "Talk of X being banned in Britain by Starmer. I will fight it in Parliament." Tommy Robinson quote tweeted him and said, "We will fight it on the streets." And I find it funny how people like Lowe and Robinson, who are so concerned again about the safety of women and girls, are defending a website that is literally promoting child exploitation content. Now, why do right-wing figures such as Lowe love Twitter so much? Could it be this? Reform MP Rupert Lowe earns nearly £1,000 an hour for tweeting. Since July, he has made £12,460 from the app, but that's also old data from last year. Updated figures shows he earns much, much more. Grok estimates Rupert Lowe made between 65,000 and 85,000 from posting on X in 2025. Every time you see a blue tick ranting about banning an X that enables sex offenders, people calling for the UK to be invaded, a state-sponsored attack on us, ask Grok to estimate their X earnings. Why do you think he baits so much? I mean, I doubt he believes half the things he says, but he makes a lot of money through engagement farming. But whatever your views on whether Twitter should be banned or not, that is the matter for our government to decide, not any other country. Yet, hot off their imperialism streak, Representative Anna Paulina Luna has threatened sanctions against the UK and Keir Starmer. If Starmer is successful in banning X in Britain, I will move forward with legislation that is currently being drafted to sanction not only Starmer, but Britain as a whole. This would mirror actions previously taken by the United States in response to foreign governments restricting the platform, including the dispute with Brazil in 2024 to 25, which resulted in tariffs, visa revocations, and sanctions and consequences tied to free speech concerns against Brazilian officials over concerns related to censorship and free speech violations. Starmer should reconsider this course of action, or there will be consequences. There are always technical bugs during the early phases of new technology, especially AI, and those issues are typically addressed quickly. X treats these matters seriously and acts promptly. Let's be clear, this is not about technical compliance. This is a political war against Elon Musk and free speech, nothing more. It's pure projection, right? Because they are defending Elon Musk because they like his politics. Elon Musk is going around and funding elections back in the Republican Party. The Republican Party are a pro-capital party, a pro-billionaire party. So they support Elon Musk for those reasons. Trust me, I mean, remember when Jack Dorsey owned Twitter? Hardly a lefty, by the way. And they used to call Twitter a left-wing platform. They used to rail against Jack Dorsey. You know, for them, it's like, oh, we like that billionaire. For us leftists, we don't like billionaires at all. It's ridiculous. Now, if Starmer wants to ban Twitter, that is the decision of the government, not the decision for bloodthirsty imperialist ghouls of the US to decide. I don't think we should be bullied by a nation, especially led by a pedo. And Seka, do you think we should ban Twitter?
hate that I have to say this, but justice for Keir Starmer, I guess, first of all. Like, wow. That's something, putting me on the side of Keir Starmer. But I completely agree with, most of what you've said, and this country has every right to assert its own laws and its own in its own jurisdiction, right? I mean, just before I talk about the ban on Twitter, I just wanted to talk really quickly about the Rupert Lowe stuff as well. I mean, I was having a peek, because I'm a sado. I was having a peek at the register of interests yesterday online of Rupert Lowe to try and get a grip on how much money this man must be earning from X, and it's just absolutely astonishing, actually, to think that there is an elected MP who is elected by his constituents to represent his constituents in Parliament, and presumably he's spending a significant portion, it seems, because the guy's constantly on my timeline, he's spending a significant portion of that time tweeting sensationalist, racist, awful things as a way of engagement farming so that he can line his own pockets and earn thousands from a social media platform. Like, that's where our democracy is now. We have a totally topsy-turvy skewed democracy where he may be getting as much as, if not more, money soon from tweeting out insane in the brain things than representing his constituents. That's where we're at. I mean, I think it's a joke, by the way, that this can all just be written down in the register of interests. Okay, and then what? It's just written down in this big book called All My Massive Conflicts of Interest, and then nothing happens. It's a huge conflict of interest, I think, massively, for him to be able to spend so much time and accrue so much money from something which potentially is harming his constituents and people in this country. So I think I just think that's really outrageous, to be quite honest with you. In terms of banning Twitter, that I spend an awful lot of time on that website. I've got a horrible addictive relationship to it. I'm chronically addicted to Twitter. I'm not one of those people that left when Elon Musk took over. But, I have to say that there are lots of good reasons to ban it. Maybe that this Grok incident is just one of them in some ways, as you've said. The enabling of AI tools to kind of digitally harass other users by removing clothing from people is really scary. The thought that this could extend to children as well, and sexualized images of children, is also really terrible, and just, I would have thought, irrefutably immoral. One of those things where we just all sort of look at that and go, oh my God, that's terrible. And I think ultimately, if Elon Musk can't ensure that his platform adheres to those basic safety rights for the citizens of this country, then I think we have every right to say, well, we're not going to have this here then, because we need to protect our people and the people who live here. Britain first, if you like. So, and I do believe it's also currently illegal as well to share deep fakes of adults and stuff as well. So I think it's probably a good case to say it's already in breach of the laws that we already have, and that we should be able to enforce, by our own legal system and our own elected officials, right? I think just to take a step back and just look at the wider picture here, there's a lot happening at the moment which I think is seriously underscoring how little sovereignty we actually have in this country. Increasingly, the way that, me, you, anybody watching this, anybody who lives here, any other citizen in this country votes, has little to no bearing, other than pure coincidence maybe, about what this country actually does. Our foreign policy, for a long time, has been outsourced to Washington. How you vote has no bearing on what our foreign policy is, because we'll do what our imperial US masters tell us to do. Much of our economy is increasingly being parasitically taken over by the West. You've got big tech have really got their teeth into us now, and now we can't even protect our own citizens from, deeply damaging actions and without having economic threats leveled at us by a foreign empire. And they're not doing any PR around it. They're not sort of adding any fluff around it and then saying the really mean stuff behind closed doors. They're literally just tweeting, do what we say, holding a gun to our head and saying, do what we say or we will do this and it will be bad for you guys. So there's a kind of real mask off, no bones about it kind of way in which we are being told by an empire, this is how things are going to go, and you're going to like it or lump it. And so there's so many alarm bells, I think, ringing. It's only the start of the year, and yet we've had so many alarm bells already ringing, giving us a kind of massive wake-up call that if we carry on this trajectory of kowtowing to the US, we are going to find ourselves less and less free. This country, 10 years ago now, with the Brexit referendum, had a big conversation about sovereignty. And there's lots of really good conversations to have, whether you voted Leave, Remain, whatever, about the sovereignty of this country. And this is a kind of key apex question to ask ourselves, actually, about, do we want to be a sovereign country that decides for itself what we do, whether you voted Remain, Leave, whether you voted in the last election Tory, Reform, Labour Party, Green Party, whatever. Who is voting in this country for us to have less autonomy, for us to have less of a decision-making power in this country? You know, who voted for this world order that we're living in? And I think that's a serious question for us to have to grapple with as we look forward over the next sort of years and decades, about how we untie ourselves from this empire, which really does not have our best interests at heart. The special relationship, tear that up and throw that stuff in the bin, to be honest, because it's just not relevant anymore, I think, to the world that we are living in, the fundamental paradigm shift that there has been towards just a complete subjugation, I think, really of our country on the world stage. And if we want to have freedom and have autonomy and decision making power, we need to do something about it.
I mean, I'm the same as you. I'm always on Twitter, unhealthily so. Right, we're actually broadcasting to Twitter right now, but guess what? I still say ban it. And the reason why I say that is it's not even just about the fact that the content has gotten really bad, not to mention the child exploitation content, but like the algorithm being manipulated to push right-wing content. That's not even, for me, the main thrust of why I want it banned. The reason why is because we cannot have a single person have so much power over the means of communication. And that is why I don't believe we should ban Twitter in isolation. We need to look at the entire media. So when you've got Alex Phillips from Talk TV saying, oh, you radical lefty, you want to ban Twitter? First of all, yes, I'm a radical lefty. But also, I want to do something about Talk TV. I want to do something about GB News. I want to do something like The Guardian, The Mirror, The Telegraph, all of the corporate media. Because at the moment, we have generally the majority of the means of communication owned by a handful of billionaires. That's not democratic. And the idea that, well, just because Twitter isn't the government, therefore it's free speech, it's not the case, because you've got, again, one guy who was a very unhinged individual, by the way, literally changes the algorithm to make himself happy and enriches his mates and upholds a system of oligarchy. So it's in the interest of democracy to not only ban Twitter, but have a full-on media revolution, which is why we have independent media, of course, to plug us. I also thought the what you're saying about patriotism is so true. We don't have a real nationalist movement in this country, or maybe even globally, right? I'm an internationalist, right? But God forbid I get to debate an actual nationalist. You've got the big figures like Tommy Robinson. They're just bitches for US oligarchs in Israel. I mean, they're not even proper nationalists. And you've got people who want to bring back feudalism. They want Trump to be their king. They're saying stuff like, hey, what you did to Venezuela, do it over here, please. Oh, let's have an imperial invasion over here. Where's your sense of patriotism? These people would rather Keir Starmer be kicked out in a regime change from Donald Trump than in a democratic election. I think it's wild. I mean, I didn't vote for Starmer. I'll never vote for the Labour Party. But my God, I will defend our own government against a foreign billionaire paedophile.